All right, I think we are ready to get started. Off this preview, get OBS out of the way. All right, so if you are new to the stream, if you have never seen anything like this before, to start out with, I guess, hello everyone. My name is Tim. I go by foamyguy on GitHub and Discord. And like I was saying, if you are new to this stream, if you don't know anything about what we talk about on the stream, it's generally all related to CircuitPython. If you don't know what that is, that's a version of Python that can run on these tiny computers called microcontrollers. There's a bunch of them in the images in the background here. Come in all different shapes and sizes, as you can see, and they all have different sets of peripherals and different things connected to allow them to kind of, serve different purposes. And so if you're familiar with the Python programming language, normal Python, which is sometimes referred to as CPython, this is just a different version of Python. It's the same language, but it runs on these tiny little chips on these microcontroller devices. And so if you are interested in the project, it's an open source project. You can help contribute to the project itself and the libraries. If you go to circuitpython.org and click contributing up here, there's a list of open pull requests and open issues, and the core project is all on GitHub. So if you are interested in contributing to the core, you can find it on github.com/adafruit/circuitpython. Which brings me to the next point. If you don't want to contribute that way, but you are still interested in helping out the project and contributing in whatever way you can, another way you could do so is by purchasing hardware from Adafruit. This is their website, adafruit.com. They are the primary financial backer of the CircuitPython project. So it is an open source project, but they pay folks to work on that project full time and to foster the community and do all sorts of things related to the project. So if you purchase hardware from them, you are indirectly helping support the CircuitPython project. This stream is not like a paid advertisement. They're not paying me to promote their shop at the top of the stream here, but they do pay me sometimes to work on guides and other software. So, full disclosure, they do pay me to work on other stuff, but this stream is just something I do for fun. And of course, I do like the project and want to support the project, so I'm always happy to point folks towards their website. Hey there, Dexter. Also, thanks for the follow on Twitch there, host 0312. 00312. Assuming you are a real follower, hopefully, and not a bot thing that was going around trying to get people to go to their profile. So today, hey there, Samurai. Good afternoon. Today, so I have pulled up actually this Etch-A-Sketch that I was working on last week. That's not really what we were going to work on today. I happen to just have it in the camera here. The stuff I want to work on today is a little bit more meta. So it's not going to be CircuitPython projects directly, but it's some of the stuff that goes kind of alongside CircuitPython. And sorry, I should have had these tabs pulled up, but I didn't. So let's grab that here. This will be the first thing I look at, which is pull request in the cookie cutter repo. So cookie cutter is a tool that we use to create all the libraries. Whenever there's a new library created, we use cookie cutter to create that library because it allows us to very quickly and easily include a set of known common files that every library repository has. There's a bunch of stuff like README files and pip setup and Sphinx docs setup and all kinds of stuff that's sort of like boilerplate to all the library projects. And cookie cutter makes it easy to replicate that quickly and easily. It's like a templating thing for projects. The other thing I will look at is after this, I wanted to try out this other PR. I don't know if I have a tab open for it still. Let's just go to it here. So this was GitHub. Fruit. This one is CircuitPython.org, I think is the name of the repo. Yeah, this is the actual website, the website that we were just on a moment ago, CircuitPython.org. This is the code for that website, and this person, Durapensa, has worked on some new searching functionality inside CircuitPython.org, which I thought sounded pretty cool. So I wanted to give that a try and look it over and maybe review the PR if we get it up and running. Although it's been a little while. I think I have built CircuitPython.org once or twice, but it's been a while. I don't remember the exact process, so I'll have to kind of relearn that in order to look at this PR. But I'm going to start first on Cookie Cutter. The other thing I should have had open here was my PyCharm, but I didn't, so let's get that open. And let me scooch it over here real quick while we find the right project. We want Cookie Cutter. This window, here we go. So in Cookie Cutter, the changes that I made recently was adding a third choice to the bundle question. So if you're not familiar at all with Cookie Cutter, I'll run it here real quick. Except we need to be back in this terminal. Well, we don't need to, but this is where it's set up easiest. So Cookie Cutter, this is how you run it. You run the command Cookie Cutter. You have to install it with, I think, pip, and then you point to like the template of which Cookie Cutter you want to run, right? Because Cookie Cutter is not specific to CircuitPython. You know, lots of different projects could use this Cookie Cutter templating tool. So you point it to essentially which template you want to use. So right now I'm using my local copy of the Cookie Cutter repo when I run this command. Basically what it does is it asks you a series of questions in the terminal here, and then based on your answers to those questions, it will generate the project for you. So this first question right here, it asks what is going to be the target bundle for this library. And so this is actually the part that I changed. It used to just be two choices, Adafruit bundle and community bundle. And CircuitPython.org bundle, this is the new choice. And it used to not really give you a third choice for this, but instead it would kind of key off of whether or not you entered a library prefix later on. So I'll run through these prompts real quick. You can get a sense of what they are all about. So I just picked the new one here, CircuitPython.org. I'm going to leave the default. The default is in the square brackets there. So GitHub user is the next question, and CircuitPython.org is the CircuitPython user on GitHub. Author name. I'll put my name. Company, it also has a default to CircuitPython, same as the organization on Repo. Library name, so this would be where you put the name of the actual library that you're working on. So, you know, I do a lot of work on display.io, so I'll put display.io, cookie baking library, I don't know. Something with treats sounds pretty good. Of course, you know, this would be related to whatever your actual new library is. So if you're making a driver for a specific breakout or something like that, you would put that in the name. If you're making a display.io, you know, widget or something, you could put the name of the widget here. Test, description. You know, again, this would be, you'd fill this in if you were making a real library here. You would just put a sentence or two about the library, what it's going to do, that sort of thing. Keywords, I'll leave blank. You know what, actually I'll throw some in here. Cookies and baking, we'll put those. Library prefix, okay, so this is the prefix I was talking about before. So the way that CircuitPython, or excuse me, the way that Cookie Cutter works currently, not in this branch that I'm working on, but on the deployed branch, is if you leave the prefix blank, then you essentially end up with a CircuitPython.org repo. And so now the way it works is you select CircuitPython.org up here, and that essentially causes it to skip. Well, not skip. I was trying to actually figure out how we can make it skip, but I didn't really come up with a good solution. But it essentially makes it ignore the prefix. So since we chose CircuitPython.org, you know, we don't really need to put in a prefix here. Prefix is used mainly for the Adafruit bundle, because it uses Adafruit as the prefix. And then for the community bundle, what I like to do when I make something for the community bundle is use my GitHub name for the prefix. So I'll put foamyguy in the prefix when I'm making something for the community bundle. PID, this is just a test one. We don't really have a product. We will say yes to bus device and register. we'll say no to other requirements, and then PyPy release will let it default to yes, and Sphinx will let it default to yes. So there it finished up. You can see it doesn't really print anything when it finished. But what we have now is this new library right here, CircuitPython _org _display.io cookie baking library. So this is what just got generated by running cookie cutter. And we could go open this up. Wait, that is what we want. Yeah, open. These are in cookie tests. Cookie baking library. This is the new one we just created. I'll open this in a new window. And you can see it's got a bunch of stuff in it already. So all of these files that are here, these all got created by the cookie cutter template. So it created a Python file where we would put our actual library code. It created an examples folder with an example file. This is where we would write a simple test example. Created all the stuff we need for Sphinx documentation. The GitHub actions that run inside GitHub anytime there's a push or a merge in that repo. All sorts of stuff, licenses, git ignores, all kinds of like meta files that are not necessarily part of the library functionality, but they do go along with the library for all of the CircuitPython libraries. So this is what it generates, and specifically what I'm going to be working on right now is addressing some of this feedback from Ask Patrick W. So thank you to Ask Patrick W, who reviewed this PR and left some feedback, which is basically that there's a couple spots where it is hard-coded to assume Adafruit, and there's a couple of spots where it says like if the target bundle was Adafruit, and then it has an else. And so we need to either make it have 3 branches since we have 3 bundles now, or we need to maybe try to change the else to be a little bit more generic so that it could apply to the community bundle or the CircuitPython.org bundle, or excuse me, CircuitPython.org. I get those mixed up a bunch, but okay, one moment. Actually, I'm gonna be right back. Alrighty. Blow my nose real quick there. All right. Let me just chat back up as well here. So it says the docs are hard-coded to assume Adafruit. See project name in the conf. Name. Yeah, so we do need to update this because we have new logic for generating the name. And it actually got kind of weird. If you are at all familiar with cookie cutter, the way that it works is the template. Let me actually pull up. Let me pull up the main branch, cookie cutter. So I guess it doesn't really show us this entire. Here it is. Okay, so inside cookie cutter, it has this folder with this really big, long, bizarre name that has all these symbols in it. So these are, I think it's Jinja 2 templating. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's technically a little bit different of a templating language. But I'm familiar with Jinja 2 templates, JINJA 2, the number 2. I'm familiar with those templates from Django code. Django uses this templating language kind of mixed with HTML in order to create dynamic web pages. It's one option inside Django. So essentially it's like not including these things literally in the final name of the directory. These are like logic that it's, applying some rules. So like this one, you can see it says if, basically it's saying if there was a library prefix, if the prefix was not blank, then we do the stuff that is inside of this if block. So in this case, it's using the double brackets there to include a variable. So the variable cookie cutter.library prefix. And it's also applying, I think they call these filters maybe. It's like applying a an after effect, essentially, like it's modifying the variable. It's not just giving you the variable plain. In this case, it's calling that capitalize modification on it. So it will, I think it will capitalize the first letter is what that will do. Then we have a part that is actually literal right here, where it's underscore CircuitPython, and then else, if this statement up here was false, then we do this part that's in the else block here. So CircuitPython org, end if. So that's the end of the if statement. You have to explicitly mark it like this. Then we have a literal underscore. Then we have another variable, the library name, and we are doing another modification. We're replacing empty space with an underscore inside the library name. And so this is essentially what becomes the repository folder. If I go back to this example here, this folder here, CircuitPython org display.io cookie cutter baking library, like the root directory of the repo that we generated, that is what that big, long, bizarre thing here ultimately becomes when cookie cutter runs on it. And so we're changing the way this behaves to not, because you can see like right here, it's basically using if it has a prefix to determine whether it should use CircuitPython org or not. If it does have a prefix, then it's doing underscore CircuitPython with the prefix in front of it. And if it does not have a prefix in the else branch right here, it's going and saying CircuitPython org. So it's kind of keying off the prefix to determine whether it will use CircuitPython org. So what we're changing is we have a third target bundle, right? It's going to say here, instead of like if it has a prefix or not, it would say if the target bundle was CircuitPython org, then we include this. Otherwise, we do the other way without the org in it. And so I sat down and started working on this, and the original way I did it was adding more logic into this directory's name. But what I ran into was that there's actually a cap on how long a file name is allowed to be. And I don't know, maybe it's different on different OSs, possibly. I have no idea if that is like across the board or what, but when I wrote out some more logic to this to add the third target bundle to say like if the target bundle is CircuitPython.org, then behave this way, otherwise behave the other way. I actually ended up with a name for the folder that was too long. My computer would not let me save the new name for that directory. So in order to get around that, what I have done is inside Cookie Cutter, there is a thing called hooks. And there are a couple of different times when Cookie Cutter will run these hooks. One of them, pre-gen hooks, it will run these before generating your project. And then post-gen hooks, it will run after it generates your project. And I think there's probably more hooks as well. I'm not super familiar with Cookie Cutter. But there may be other ones as well. These are the two we use in the CircuitPython, implementation. And so what I did was in the post-gen hooks, this is where I put all of that logic. This was originally what I tried to stick into the folder name right here, and it didn't fit. So I put all of that logic in here, and then at the very end of the post-gen hooks, it will basically go and find the directory that got generated. It now gets generated with a, like a temporary generic name there, temp repo, TMP repo. And then it will basically go and rename it. So, inside here, we don't have any limit on the length, right? This is just a Python string. It can be as long as we want. So I was able to put all the logic in there. And then, essentially here we just rename the directory that ends up getting called temp repo. We rename it to whatever this ends up evaluating to, after it applies all of the logic and all of the different substitutions of variables and different things. And that seems to be working out pretty well. So, you can see this one, we generated it and it worked out all right. I do need to do a little more testing on the other two bundles. I've done way more org bundles in testing at this point than I have Adafruit or community bundles. I'm gonna turn the fan on real quick. It's a little warm in here. Okay, get some air moving. So we need to test out Adafruit and community, and then we also need to address this feedback from Ask Patrick. So head back over to here. So it was inside of docs.conf, I think. The first thing Patrick mentioned, yeah, project name and conf. Let's close this. Project name, yeah. So basically we can, I think we'll be able to just swap this, right? We already have repo name here. This has all the logic we want inside of it. I think we can copy this and put it inside of conf, which is where docs conf. Sphinx mapping. What line was that on? Search for it, I guess. 54 project. Okay. Oh, that's nice. It uses the template to generate the copyright year as well. That's cool. I never realized that. Interesting. This uses a comma and then a time format. I wonder if this works in the Django templates. I could get some use out of that. So let's take this old version of the project name. Oh no, this is different though. Yeah, this is different because it actually has the word library in it. Let's look at what got generated. Okay, so in our case, I put the word library in it, which you would ordinarily not do. So it is redundant here. So I guess this is really just this is really just the name that it would end up being on PyPy. So what does this generate for Adafruit ones? Let's make an Adafruit one real quick. Adafruit user company. Let's make we'll pretend this is like the name of a breakout board. Okay. We'll say it's an accelerometer. If we can spell it. I think that's right. Prefix, we'll leave it default for Adafruit. PID, it's not a real project, or I mean, it's not a real product, otherwise we would fill in a PID. I guess we could grab one. We might as well grab one anyway. Just pull up any accelerometer, I'll just link to it. That'll work. 4413. Bus device, yes. Register, yes. The requirements, no. PyPy, yes. Sphinx, yes. So now let's go and open that up. A new window. Okay, so what did it put into here before? Ah, it's actually up here, 49. Okay. So, CircuitPython project. So I think it's actually all right. Maybe we could add org, I guess, right? We could go CircuitPython org in the name of the library and then library. Is that all we want to change? Does this get used? This variable project? I mean, I'm sure PyPy uses it, but it doesn't get used anymore inside this script. Yeah, I guess let's add org. Because we do put org in the name of repository, Python org. So let's make the name here. We want to make the name here match. Although, oh, right. This is all Sphinx though, right? Not PyPy. This is, it would be the name that read the docs has the project under. But what did we do actually on some of the existing ones? I don't know if this got changed. Yeah, we did not change it in this one at least. And we don't have org in the PyPy name either. Well, this one's not on PyPy. If it was deployed to PyPy though, it would not have org in the name. Which I think kind of makes sense. Like if a person's trying to install it, I think just having CircuitPython dash library name makes sense. We put org in the name of the repo just to signify that it's part of the CircuitPython organization on GitHub. But I don't necessarily think we need to specify that like in PyPy or even in Sphinx really. We could make logic to explicitly ignore the prefix, which we do kind of. Yeah, I guess that's one thing we should do. Because in our. Okay, what have I changed? Did I change something? Contents are identical. Why is this blue then? Because in the name that's inside postgen hooks, it does... Okay, so if the target bundle is not CircuitPython org, then include the prefix. Well, if there is a prefix, then include the prefix capitalized, then underscore CircuitPython. Else, if there is not a prefix, because we had that if there's a prefix, else if there was no prefix, then just CircuitPython. And that if about the prefix, add an underscore after CircuitPython, then put the library name with underscores instead of spaces. Else, so this is the else for the first if, which was if it was not targeting CircuitPython org bundle. So this is if it is targeting CircuitPython org bundle. We just get CircuitPython org underscore cookie cutter library name, and that's it. So in the CircuitPython org branch, we actually ignore the prefix, which I think makes sense. I mentioned that on the PR there if folks are interested, but I think it makes sense because the prefix, like the Adafruit libraries use Adafruit for the prefix, and so we wouldn't want to use that since it's, you know, kind of explicitly the CircuitPython org instead of the Adafruit org. And then on community libraries, what I always do is I put my GitHub username, so like foamyguy is my prefix, and I don't think we want that on CircuitPython org because the difference essentially between CircuitPython org and the community bundle is like the community bundle, when you make a library, you know, you might be the only one really supporting that library, like maintaining it and stuff. So putting your name there, I think makes sense, your GitHub name. CircuitPython org, the idea is there's like a group of folks that are maintaining that library. It's not really falling on just the person who created it. So I think that's what we would want to do. We definitely, if we're going to ignore the prefix in the name of the directory, we should also ignore the prefix in the project name in Sphinx. So this would be basically if the target bundle is not CircuitPython org. Should copy this so that I can't. Oh, also I need single quotes. Should copy this so I can't typo. Okay. We want to just go to the all the way to the very end, or we want to try to intermix it with just the prefix stuff? I think we could just put it right here. And if the bundle is not CircuitPython org, if it has a prefix, include the prefix and a space. End if, so if this is the end of if it has a prefix, and then this is the end of if it was not the CircuitPython org bundle. So then either way, it's going to get CircuitPython, then space, then library name, then library, the word library. Yeah. I think that makes sense. And that does mimic what we have in this library, which is dial widget. And so in this one, just when it got generated, I left prefix blank, but now we would have a little more kind of protection, I guess. If you don't leave prefix blank, it would have gotten included here, but now it will not. So that would have been the library name. Yeah. Okay. CircuitPy. This is the other one. Honestly, we could, why don't we see if there's anywhere else that has this? Oh. Have that, that terminal is in the cookie test library. Okay. Only CircuitPy. Only place where we have that. Okay. Let's go back inside CircuitPy. MainPy. Oh, this is inside cookie cutter. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that as well. I had to change up the tests a little bit. CircuitPy's inside of this. One of these. Why did grep not find both? That's interesting. Can we, oh. Okay, there's nothing in this one. I guess, did I... This one has a CircuitPy.disabled, but it has all the stuff in it. I guess I must have chosen yes for PyPy, but then changed it to disabled. And I think that makes sense for this one because it relies on Vector IO. And there's not a, so like if it's deployed on PyPy, the main usage for it is with Blinka, right? The compatibility layer. Especially if it's like a display IO related thing. Like this is a display IO widget. So if it's deployed on PyPy, it's because it can be used with Blinka display IO. But Blinka display IO doesn't have Vector IO implemented, so this would not work with it until or unless we do that. So I guess I probably chose yes when I did this one, with the idea being like when and if we get a Vector IO implementation from Blinka display IO, then this could go on PyPy and it would make sense because people would be able to use it. That's why this is empty, is if you actually choose no, you get an empty setup file. Well, almost empty. So what line was this? 53. Okay, so what all is actually different here? I don't know if there's an easy way to do this inside PyCharm or not, but I use this tool sometimes, Meld. It's like a difference highlighting tool. Okay. The differences are author gets hard-coded to Adafruit, email gets filled in, and this is the name of the bundle. Could we use target bundle? Instead of hard-coding community, and then it would say CircuitPython org if you chose that, or it would say community if you chose that, and then Adafruit can stay hard-coded. Although that would work for Adafruit too, I think. And actually author, well no, author is an individual's name. Target bundle, yeah, I think we can just use target bundle, right? So in this one that we just generated, it would have said community bundle. Yeah. The name of this looks good. That's what we want. This one we did Adafruit. That is also what we want. Okay. Let's generate another one in org and one in community. Make sure they both look good. This is the wrong terminal. This is also the wrong terminal. Too many terminals. Cookie cut. So let's go org. User is good. Company is good. We'll call this checkbox. Maybe we'll make a checkbox one day. Description. Keywords. On off would really make sense, but put them. Prefix. So we're CircuitPython org. We're going to leave prefix blank. Although if we fill it in, it gets ignored. Maybe we should put, I don't know if it's worth putting like a note that says it will get ignored or that it should be blank. The ID, we don't have a product. This is any product with a display. Bus device. No. Other requirements. Let's put shapes. Are these supposed to be import? Supposed to be import names or? PyPy names or what? Where do these go? Oh, I could look at the README, I guess. Okay, they're going inside requirements text, so these would be PyPy names. So shapes. Let's take me to PyPy eventually. Sort of. We could go here. I guess not really. Although this is the name. This is what I need really. So let's say we would use the shapes to make a box, and maybe I think there's a line inside there, so we could use that for the actual check mark. PyPy, yes. Sphinx, yes. Checkbox. Okay, CircuitPython org. Python org display a checkbox. That looks good. Install requires. Hey Keith, how's it going? So this is where it included the keywords. Display a checkbox. Okay, so yeah, I think this looks good. I guess the only other thing I could think of that might be worth doing is filling in a author email, but I don't know what we would fill in. Maybe this would make sense, but I don't know, because this is a Adafruit address. I think the idea is like kind of explicitly aside from Adafruit, so I don't know. If we had like a mailing, like if there was a way that you could mail it to the org on GitHub, and if it would like forward to the GitHub users that are a part of that org, then that's what we could put there. Not too bad. Got an AMA going on the subreddit, and it's going smoothly. Oh, nice. Yeah, the Etch-A-Sketch is good. Etch-A-Sketch is good. I got it to pretty much to the point where it does all the stuff I wanted it to do. I will say, actually, one other thing that I did not do on it yet, which I still kind of want to do, is I do want a, I want like a classic mode where it will put gray in the background and then like black or darker gray in the foreground so that it looks like the original. And maybe I'll even change the little like target, you know, crosshair thing there to just be a single pixel or something like that, like it was on the Etch-A-Sketch. But yeah, the rest of it is all good. I got the menu going. I got the shake to clear. So if we exit the menu, you can shake it up. It'll prompt you to clear. Pen size and step size are both working. I guess maybe I could add color into the menu. You cycle through colors by pressing the other knob. Might be nice to be able to do it inside of here as well. Like then you could scroll it with this knob to cycle through the colors. That way it's like a little quicker if you're trying to go, you know, from the beginning of the list to the end of the list. That might be kind of cool. Yeah, it's basically down to just kind of like minor sort of quality of life things. All the basic functionality is all there. Yeah, thanks. Thank you for that. Johnny, how's it going today? Let's see. So let's do a so this was an org one and that looks good. Let's do a community one and an Adafruit one. Make sure both of those work good. Community, user, let's put foamyguy again for company. I don't really have a company. Library name. I don't know. This is another thing I want to get back to working on, is tile map game engine. We'll use that as an example for a library name. So let's see. Prefix, no PID, no bus device, the requirements, JSON, but that's not a library. I don't think it has any other requirements. PyPy, I'll say yes. Sphinx, I'll say yes. Let's overtake a couple of these windows. We don't need all of these open. This one was foamyguy. This window. Community bundle. So this one ends up being foamyguy CircuitPython display IO tile map game. I think does make sense because this one has a prefix on it. PyPy name. Set here. This is kind of interesting. Replacing CircuitPython org. I guess this still... If it has a prefix... Oh yeah, okay. This is, we'll need to change this too. This is still basically using the old logic of if it does not have a prefix, then make it a CircuitPython org. So this should be different now. Yeah. I mean, it's generating a correct name, but only because I included a prefix. If I had skipped the prefix, which, you know, I think is totally valid as well if you're making a community bundle library. I tend to put foamyguy in it, but I don't think there's like any, you know, rule that says you have to do it that way. Then this would assume CircuitPython org. is not what we want. So fix that. This should really be another if target bundle. Actually, we're gonna do not. And then we'll have another end if all the way outside of here. Actually, I guess we'll have an else, right? And then an end if after that. It's not CircuitPython.org. If it does have a prefix, do this. If it does not have a prefix, this is now coming down here. If it does not have a prefix, then repo name, so no leading underscore. Also, we don't have anything yet in repo name. CircuitPython underscore library name. Yeah. Also, these minus signs make it so it doesn't include white space in the final file. Here as well. So if it's not the org bundle, if it has a prefix, put the prefix, then put CircuitPython, then put the library name. If it doesn't have a prefix, just put CircuitPython, then the library name. If it was the CircuitPython org bundle, use CircuitPython org underscore library name, ignoring the prefix again if there was one. Yeah. So why is this replacing org? I guess, well, okay, that makes sense. It's because we are, on the PyPy names, we're not including org. Because, like, I think we still want it to be able to install like this, CircuitPython display.io dial. I don't think it makes as much sense for this to be CircuitPython org display.io dial. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but I don't think it's necessary. Org, the main place where we really want org, I think, is the name of the repo, and that's kind of it. It's almost like CircuitPython org is the prefix, essentially, right? It's just that we don't want it to double up. We don't want it to be CircuitPython org underscore CircuitPython. That would be redundant. So, although I guess the prefix does get included in the PyPy name. I don't know. It behaves like a prefix in some ways and not like a prefix in some other ways, I guess. Okay. So now if we create a community bundle without a prefix, this new logic should work and should not include org. Should not include org anywhere, really. It shouldn't be in the repo name. It shouldn't be in, well, it shouldn't be in the name of the folder that the repo goes inside of, but it also should not be in this variable repo name. Let's run that one. Okay. So here we want to go community and no prefix. Library name. I'm running out of test library names. I don't know. Pancake. Yeah, I don't know. Pretend like Pancake is a widget. Description. Zero. Put it on Pancake too, I guess. Oh well. It's all fake anyway. So we're gonna go no prefix, no PID, no bus device, no register. Other requirements, I guess we could put shapes in here again. It was gonna use the circles. I don't know if the circles, I'm imagining 3D pancakes though, so it would need to be an oval for perspective. I don't know if shapes does that or not. I'm gonna leave it blank. This is all hypothetical anyway. PyPy, let's say yes. Sphinx, yes. Go take a look at this one. So, oh no, this is not a display of pancake. This one's it. See, I had snacks on the mind a lot when I was creating these test libraries. Got to be careful with breaking the conventions. Compatibility with circles. Well, I'm not sure what the convention is, though, I guess. I mean, I would say the convention kind of has been to not include the org, because that's what all the ones that are existing today. Let's look at this. Let me pull this out of the chat, though. JSON file. Is this is the JSON file here? Is that right? Just view it in the browser, I guess. Got too many things in my downloads. It doesn't like text. Text. That looks kind of bad in text, doesn't it? Okay, let me fix the chat. When used by the bundler. I think it makes sense to change. Well, the bundle, as far as I know, the bundler, or do you mean Adabot, or the thing that releases the bundles? When you say bundler, or bundler like the one for learn guides? I think it makes sense though. Bundlefly, yeah, I think that's the one they use in learn guides, right? And I think I actually just worked with gosh, I don't remember this person's name. I would have to go back and look in my emails. Cadney hooked me up with the person that works in Learn, though. I think it makes sense, though. Circup... Well, Circup works on these things today, I believe. But also, I think it makes sense, like, to make a case inside Circup that can handle the lack of org. Like, in my mind, it makes more sense to make Circup be able to understand the lack of org than it does to force all of these to have org in their PyPy names. Because I think it makes their PyPy names have a separate accelerometer. Hey there, Highlange. Sorry, I didn't notice your comment until now in Twitch there. There is an accelerometer, though, inside of the... I assume you're talking about the Etch-A-Sketch, I'm guessing, is what I was showing. And I'll show you a little bit. It's kind of hard to see, but there's these 4 holes here, and there's an accelerometer screwed in on the back side of these 4 holes, basically. So that's how it's picking up the shape there. That's what you were talking about, I'm assuming. I don't know. I can see the case for it being easier. Like, Circup code can be simpler if it doesn't have to bundler finds and includes files. Yeah, I believe it's supposed to work. Again, I forgot I should go look it up. I forgot the person's name, unfortunately. But I just worked with them, and they said that it's the person who is like the learn dev. Let me see if I can... Justin. That's what it is, Justin. And I think it's supposed to be working. I have not tested it specifically inside of Learn yet. But we could try it out. Maybe I could do I could do one that's just like preview one or something that's not published yet. Issue is when requirements are expressed as the PyPy name. But can we make... Well, 2 things. I think some of these, like, if they're not released on PyPy, then I don't think it matters too much to worry about, like, what if a person uses what would be the PyPy name on Circup? Like, I think that's unlikely to happen. But the other thing is, like, I think we can make Circup be aware of that and make it connect up correctly. Let's look at, do we have any of these that are actually... Because I know, like, dial is not on PyPy. It has the setup Py, but it's disabled. But if we get vector IO, I would like to put it on PyPy. So it is worth considering, like, what would we do if it was? Flip input. This one is in setup Py. And so basically what you're saying is Circup. So let's grab this pip show. I have no idea if I have the latest version. Is that the latest version? Yeah. So basically, if we use this name, Circup will not find it. Is that right? Okay, not a known library. But if we use with org here, it will find it, even though that's not actually... No. So it doesn't find it either way, I guess. Or is that because it's not implemented yet inside of there? But the other thing is it will find it with, or maybe is that one not in the bundle? Maybe that one's not in the bundle. The other thing is the AdaBot doesn't release this bundle yet. So there's not actually that much included, right? Because I just manually released this one. That is also on my list of stuff to do at some point. Let's try to look at AdaBot. Maybe it's not in there. Yeah, it's not in there. Okay, let's do one of these ones actually then. Annotation, is that on PyPy? Yeah. Annotation, and this was the first one, I think. So let's do this one instead. Yeah, flip and pose, not a good test. Annotation. Circup only knows PyPy names if they're prefixed. CircuitPython name, prefix name module. Okay, so this one got not a known library, but if we put org here, would it? That'll be fixed when it comes to using the JSON file. Didn't find this one either. Let me put this somewhere where I can see it better. Remember what this was. Okay, just gonna paste this randomly here. Okay, yeah, annotation is the only one that's in this currently, actually, because of the release thing, truthfully. So there's actually two. There's, what was the second one there? Dial is in the bundle, but it's not released yet. I was waiting to try to make AdaBot do the releases, and that would be my test one. But is there... I mean, it... Model is in requirements. It's in the PyPy names. Yeah, that part definitely makes sense. If it's in requirements, then it has to be PyPy, I think. Well, I don't know if we use, like, is there requirements that's like for circup only and not PyPy, then maybe it would not be PyPy names, but this one doesn't. On device, searching dependencies. This one doesn't install either way. Should there be a way to do it now or not at all right now? Not yet. Only tries to remove CircuitPython. The center. Okay. But it does do, I think this part works, right? So the library name one does work. Yeah. I already have it installed anyway, but... So, but if this JSON got generated correctly, if this JSON got generated like this, could we then still... Could we have Circup find it this way? What is it that generates this JSON? Is it part of the AdaBot process that runs? Or it's no, it's in an actions, is it? In actions. I guess probably release action. Right. I've been through this before. Build SH. Build bundles. I see. Circuit doesn't use the JSON file yet. Bundles. This is part of build tools, I think. I think that's what generates the JSON file, maybe. But the JSON file is not hooked up yet anyway, right? So we do want the JSON file to be correct, but that would not solve the immediate issue. No, you're cool. You're cool. Not a problem. I want to get a resolution for this as well, certainly, and it kind of goes along with right where I was at. So, in the future state, do I understand it correctly? In the future state, when Circuit uses this JSON file, if this gets generated correctly to match the without org, then like in the future version of Circuit that uses this file, it would be able to install it correctly. Is that part correct as far as you understand it, Aradoc? Or is it still a problem that the org is missing from there? It should. Okay. I think I like that solution. I'd rather not have the org in the PyPy name, just because I think people are less likely to like just know how to install it with org in the name. I don't know. So then in that case, if we can make this, and since this is incorrect still right now, the next thing is we need to make that generate correctly, which I am going to look into real quick. And don't worry at all. This is not, I mean, it's aside from the exact thing I was looking at, but it's not outside the realm all the way. Like, this is totally cool, no problem at all. CircuitPython, GitHub. This is all part of what ties everything together, so I am totally down for looking in this. So I think this runs inside of here. It has a script build bundles. And build JSON file. Okay. So this is get package info. This is get package info. You have to make build tools find the PyPy name if it was changed manually from the default. Default is repository name. Place. So I think we can, if we just add one extra replace, right? We can replace CircuitPython org with CircuitPython only. Is that in this file where it's doing that? Replace? Yeah. Well, get module name. It says get the module name or the package name, but it's actually returning both? Well, no, repo, I guess, is not either of those. Do I have build tools? I need to get more familiar with all this stuff anyway as well, because I need to figure out how to make AdaBot release CircuitPython org bundle. Second build tools. Build tools? I don't know what it's called. Probably in this list, but I'm just missing it. Let's look in here. Can't make this bigger. Adafruit CircuitPython build tools? No. Just CircuitPython build tools. Am I not? Oh, there it is. Okay. Like, I know I'm almost certain I must have this. Bundles. So if it just had one more of these, replace. At this point, it would be all lowercase, I think, and it would be a dash because it already replaced underscores org with CircuitPython only. So basically, you just cut out the org essentially. And it won't do anything if this doesn't exist. Python. So let's save this now. How can I make all of this run though, right? I think I'll need the bundle open also. Overtake this instance here. Oh, screenshotter. That's the other thing I wanted to add to the Etch-A-Sketch maybe is use bitmap saver and have it be able to save your current drawing. I think that'd be really cool. Let's go this window to overtake some of these things. Okay, Python build bundles. So how does this know? Does this just work? It does. How did is that installed with pip or something? How did I get that? Yeah, it must be. Okay, so can I go remove it? Yes. And then, well, then install this one. Dot. And then back in here, let me close some more of these bugs. So here now we run build.sh and add dial. Is that where I want to be? I think I want to be in main. Oh, right, it lists the sub. Yeah. It's the sub repos here, okay. We're in main now, we pulled sh, and this will create the JSON files and everything, I think. Where does it put these bundles? Does it have stuff left over from last time? Seems like it has stuff left. Yeah. So that cuts it out of there. This is still correct because the org is in the repo name. I know it's kind of confusing, I guess, to have org in the repo name, not anywhere else, but that's still correct. This one actually worked as well, even though this is not in the, or well, it's this one that's not in the released one yet, but this one worked as well, right? Yeah. And annotation, this one is already on PyPy, I believe, and I believe this is the name for it on PyPy. Whoops. Yeah. So that part is correct now. Okay. So I will PR this to the build tools. Maybe replace CircuitPython org or replace it only if it's the start of the string. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I guess if you, because then if you put, yeah, that's definitely true. We should totally do that. That's a good point. Thank you for that. So we would want to only, if it starts with, right? I think you can do this, right? Python, CircuitPython org something dot starts with CircuitPython org. Did I put a space in front of it? Yeah. True. And without false, and then here false. So let's go. Let's put it after. Let's do this part first. Whoops. Ooh, regex. I'm scared of regex usually. I can do that though for sure. If somebody else is willing to write the regex for me, I can use it. So thing sub. So it would be thing is module name sub up. I really need to practice more with regex. Very much a guess and checker when it comes to regex. There's like a tool online that lets you, it's got all sorts of pretty highlighting colors and stuff. Whenever I have to write regex for real, I just go there and keep trying until the right things are highlighted. Oh, so then we don't need starts with anymore. Oh, this is, I got this wrong. This is RE. Then this is module name here. Okay, so basically this is then saying if it starts with CircuitPython org, replace that part with just CircuitPython. Okay. And then do we need to... It's not complaining, so maybe it's imported already? Yeah, it's imported already. Okay. So let me double check again. Did I get this all right? Resub R for regex string up caret CircuitPython org place with CircuitPython thing, which is module name in our case. Module name equals. Yeah, that looks right. Let's save this. Let's go. Whoa, I want that. Quit here. Uninstall. Install. Bundle. Let's delete these again. Build. JSON. Format. Yeah, nice. Cool. Yeah, that is nicer. You can get rid of the if statement because it's implicit in the regex. I like that. Files up to date. So let's make a branch here and get this ready for a PR. Does this do pre-commit and stuff? No. Black or anything? Doesn't have any don't have any actions on build tools repo? Yeah, no, doesn't. Huh. I'm surprised it's not at least running like black Highland. We should add those. Check out new branch. CircuitPython org pypy name from main no track. This shows me on master. Is it main? Oh no, this one hasn't been changed yet. Huh, okay. So this will have to be master here. This is not right. No track. Check out new branch, CircuitPython org pypy name from Adafruit master, no track. Okay. No. Can't be created. Oh, get remote. Oh. Okay. Get remote rename origin Adafruit. Fetch Adafruit. So I need to add my own. I don't have my own origin. Or I don't know if that's called an origin. Remote. I don't have my own remote. Build tools. I might not even have a fork, honestly. I don't know if I've ever done anything here before. Yeah, I haven't. So fork this to foamyguy. Copy this and remote add foamyguy. So now this should work. Yeah. And only difference should be those 2 lines. 3 lines, I guess, because white space. Okay. I'm tempted to run black anyway, but if it changes a bunch of stuff, then my change files will be big, so I don't know. Okay. So fix PyPy names for CircuitPython org libraries. Why does it have all these listed, I wonder? One commit ahead. That part's right. Bundle is created. Doesn't run on Windows. But maybe this issue could be closed. Getting sidetracked though. I think this. Oh yeah. It's like there's a couple things that could be done in build tools. Yeah. It does. I'm gonna open an issue for branch name. Branch name. I don't know, we could just leave it at that, really. I don't know if I think at this point it's been a long time since I ran into another one with master as the name. I think we're gotta be getting pretty close to everywhere. Getting that done now. I guess the problem is though, maybe we should leave a note might require fixing somewhere for the automated use of this repo. Utility in this repo. Yeah, because something might be checking it out as master somewhere in an actions file or something. Okay. Okay. So this will fix the JSON when the bundles get generated. And so then once CircuitPython uses those JSONs, it will then be able to find these libraries with the PyPy name. Yeah, it can find them today with the, I don't know if there's a name for that, the import name. I call it the import name, I guess, the name you would use when you import it in your code. Okay. What was the last thing we did here? I think we created a, close a couple of these. I think we created a community. Yeah. We created a community and we put no prefix. So let's see if that worked. Let's go to this library. I mean this window. So this name is here, which matches PyPy name. This is the GitHub URL, which of course this library doesn't actually exist, so it's not there. Pancake. Oh, and the comment, I guess, right? We were looking for a bundle. Yeah, community bundle. And what else? What did we actually change? It was repo name. Where does repo name get used? As part of PyPy name. Is that it? No. Also, well, okay, of course, in the actual repository URL. And also, oh wait, we have two URLs. We're supposed to. No, okay. It's because the if branch, right? We have two URLs because one of them is inside the if and one of them is inside the else. I wonder if we should refactor these things to minimize duplication. It's not really part of this change I'm working on, but like there's very little. Does the order of these things matter? Well, even if the order does matter, we saw the only change. Oh, the comment, I guess. Comments at the beginning, and the only other difference is at the end. Yeah, this could be refactored to avoid duplicating all of this, right? In fact, even this, because Adafruit is the name of the bundle. So this could be here. This is gone. This is only here. All this is gone. Now, all of this is no longer duplicated. Yeah. Out of coffee. Okay. Let's make another one. Cookie cutter, run it. Let's go community again. Let's go foamyguy. Foamyguy. Radio button. I put widget as keywords for a lot of them. Again, though, these are all fake anyway, so it's not too important what we choose. But let's do a prefix. Let's do a prefix, and let's make sure that all of this stuff that we changed still works. And I'll come back and do another one without a prefix, and then we'll do an Adafruit 1 or 2. And if everything is looking good, we'll push. Library prefix, PID, nothing. Bus device, no. Register, no. Other. This one would be pretty likely to use shapes, I think, because we need circles. Let's go grab shapes again. I don't know. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. I'm going to take this whole path like this too anyway. Look at this. Oh well. Okay. Pi, yes. Sphinx, yes. So we got foamyguy prefix this time. Okay. Off looks good. Setup high. So this is the community bundle. Makes sense. Pi name. Looks good. URL looks good. Author. So this is the only stuff that's inside the if statement now. That looks good. Display IO radio button. Okay. So let's do, well, I want to be here on terminal again. So let's do community no prefix. Running out of ideas. What else do we not have yet? We don't have a say list. I use grid layout for a list in the Etch-A-Sketch. Actually worked pretty well, but it'd be nice if we had a list thing as well. Helper for making lists text. labels in CircuitPython display. Keywords list, text, label, display, prefix, so no prefix, PID, no bus device, no register. This one would be label. Well, it's not called label, it's display text. Oh, one of these get it. Yeah, there it is. Wrong one down. There we go. PyPy yes, Sphinx yes. And so this is no prefix. Python display list. Unity bundle. PyPy name. GitHub URL. No prefix, so that makes sense. Author stuff is still good. Makes sense because I put a underscore in my actual library name. Okay. So now let's do Adafruit one. Default. I'll make up another. Say this is the name of a sensor. I'm gonna leave keywords blank. I don't know what kind of sensor this would be. Prefix, default, Adafruit, PID. I think this is what we had before. I'll just stick that in again. Bus device, yes. Register, yes. The requirements, no. Honestly, bus device is in the core now, right? So usually this is not actually needed as a requirement, but maybe a different thing for a different day. PyPy, yes. Sphinx, yes. And that's this one. Okay. PyPy name looks good. GitHub URL looks good. Author details look good. I think that's right, isn't it? I changed anything related to that. We just look up a random sensor. 6050. This is what the accelerometer is. Anyone's interested? The accelerometer I used in the Etch-A-Sketch. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Are there any other permutations? I did community with a prefix, community without a prefix. I did CircuitPython.org, which ignores the prefix, so we do pretty much without always. And I did Adafruit with default, which uses Adafruit as the prefix. I think I have made changes since the last time I did an org. Let's do one more org one, and as long as that one comes out good, then I think we are good here, and I'll push to update that PR. So org, user, company, what would be another cool thing? Let's see. Dropdown. Words. Select, that's what it's called in HTML. The option. Prefix. So we'll leave it blank. The ID, no product, no bus device, no register. This one would probably also use text. PyPy, yes. Sphinx, yes. Okay. Fingers crossed. I think we're gonna be good though. I think we'll be good. CircuitPython org display dropdown. Dropdown. Setup py. PyPy name is good. GitHub URL is good. Wires. I don't think we changed anything with that, but it looks good. Okay. All right. It's not actually published on Read the Docs, so I think this looks correct though. Looks good. Should this be a dash? Yeah. I think that should be a dash. Let's look at one of the ones that's actually deployed. Dial. Well, dial, it's not on PyPy. Let's look at annotation. Yeah, it looks like it got fixed to be a dash. I must have noticed it and changed it, but then not change cookie cutter. This is in README. So where's that? Pip 3, pip Whoa, no, we don't want that. Find pip3. Okay, we have PyPy name actually. Oops. Interesting. Seems like... But why did that come out with an underscore? Library name, lowercase. This needs spaces in it? Place. Underscore by dash, replace. Space by dash. PyPy name. Oh, okay. This is the... Yeah, okay. This is the code formatted stuff in the README. This is the URL. So is that broken, actually, on annotation? It's not broken. But is PyPy just... Yeah, PyPy is redirecting. So it has... I can't move my mouse to point at it, but in the bottom left there, it does have an underscore. But I click it, and PyPy still figures it out anyway. But we should fix it. We shouldn't rely on that. So it's technically broken, but it still works anyway. Right, because this is not using... So this should just be using PyPy name, honestly. Right, because we already do all of this in the PyPy name. And this is a link to PyPy, which definitely uses PyPy name. Okay. So let's do one more. Org. Whoops, nope, default. Default. I don't know, table? I don't have a description. It's prefix blank. No product, no bus device, no register. Say nothing. PyPy yes, Sphinx yes. Table. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. I think this is all looking good. I guess this underscore gets replaced also, actually. Let me follow it redirects us. This is one more replace. Underscore. Hyphen. This is another one where it's redirecting anyway, so it's not like critical, but we should probably make it correct anyway. Keep good with displays. No. No prefix, no product, no bus device, no register, no others. Yes, yes. That didn't change. Oh. Only changed it in one spot, and it was inside Adafruit. I don't know if we want that, I guess, for Adafruit ones. And it doesn't seem like it matters, because read the docs is forwarding us anyway, but I also don't want to break anything accidentally. And I'm not sure if they... I have to look at the Learn Guide, I guess. I'm not sure if they say to put underscores or spaces or what. The library name. I usually do underscores though, personally. Okay. One more try. Maybe one more try. We'll see. I don't know. What are some other half? Stretching. No. 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 Yes. Yes. There we go. Oh, but it's still wrong in the badge. One more. don't even know what that would be, but 6, no, yes. There we go. Okay. Now, does this have pre-commit? Yeah. Reuse tool environment will get reused. Oh no. The idea folder get checked in? Oh, that is going to be a bummer. No, it's untracked. Okay, this we can delete. This was output from a grep. I need this. Test. He's checked in before? Make cookies. Temp. These might have got created when I ran the test. So that is actually one other thing, if anyone is interested. I had a change in the tests. It was previously using the return from cookie cutter. Let's see. They're required, so it's saying new cookie is equal to return from the cookie cutter invoke, which gives you, this returns the name of the directory that it creates. And it's comparing that to the name that it believes it should be based on, you know, what it entered in this test. The problem is new cookie, it was coming out with temp repo, TMP repo. So then it was failing this assertion. So I had to change this to use os.lister is what I did. So now it looks inside the directory where it creates it. It finds the first, and in this case actually the only thing inside of there, and it compares that with the known name that it's supposed to be. And then it does the same thing in this other test. There's two tests inside of here, one with only required and one with all. And then the one other change I think I had to make was inside this. Yeah, this is basically looking inside of this directory, the template version of it, and it's finding all the stuff inside of there, and it's comparing it with the ones that come out of the cookie cutter execution. So I had to change this to point to what is now the name of this directory here, which has that temp repo in it. And after doing all of that, I learned how to run these tests, which was pytest-v, and now they're both back to passing. That was a bit of a learning experience for me. I'm not super familiar with running tests, pytests. All right, I think. So pre-commit failed, but it failed because of files that are not checked in. I really wish I could tell it to only look at files that are checked in. Like reuse, I have this problem with a lot. Just reuse. I don't know. It's not worth digging into, I guess. None of this stuff is actually checked in, so it's not going to fail on GitHub. Everything else passed. Okay, so we changed conf. Changed some things inside README. Fix read the docs to use hyphens. Fix this PyPy link. We changed setup py to use the target bundle logic instead of the prefix logic. And we removed a bunch of this duplication. Okay, that all looks pretty good to me. Fix conf and setup py. Fix a few URLs in README. Remove duplicated lines in setup py. Okay. So now that's pushed to here. I'll keep an eye on this. If it passes actions, which I think it should, then I will ping Ask Patrick again. Let him know that I took care of those things that they mentioned. So other thing I want to look at today is this, CircuitPython org. Do I have this repo already? Not to be confused with CircuitPython org. Organization, repos. Yeah, we can do this window. Let's close the rest of these also. Okay. How do you build this? Actually, I guess let's update this. Let's get on the right branch. We have a bunch of things to do. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Keith. Is this on main? Oh, no, this is on master as well. Make an issue here as well. Is there one that exists? That does exist, yeah. Okay, well, there's already an issue tracking it, so we need to do that for now. So we are gonna go. What is the remotes? Get remote. Okay. So we want to add Adafruit. Get remote add Adafruit. Get fetch Adafruit. And then this is PR 756. HPR checkout 756. Component search. Okay. Now how do you build this? Add a new board. Create a pull request to test your changes. You need Ruby and Ruby bundler. Also need to do this to fetch the submodules. One time, probably ran this before. Hopefully it's not a problem to run it twice. General. Is that a moderator's ping? What is that? Yeah. Whoa! Okay, 1 second. That's unfortunate. Yeah. One more thing, sorry. Okay. Sorry for that interruption. Got somebody that wants to post inappropriate things in the Discord. Where are we at? We were running this. Yeah, I didn't run this before. Maybe I built this on a different computer. Or maybe it just does all this stuff every time you run it again. Seems like it completed successfully. Run bundle exec Jekyll serve. Well, I don't even know what that is, Jekyll. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we haven't had anything quite that bad in a while. I think since we left whatever that Discord discovery or whatever it was, we were getting lots of spam around that time. Some of it was pretty bad stuff, but it's been fairly tame since then, but that was not tame. Alright, I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back while this is building. Okay. Nice. Looks like I had whatever it needs because it's running a server. So we should be able to go here, go to localhost. I think it said 4000. Yep, we have a local copy of CircuitPython.org. And I am already in a branch from the PR. So now let's go look at the PR, see what actually they changed. Search based on MCU family is working for boards with family entries inside of bootloaders.json. Try @malcmd, NRF, or ESP32S2. MCU search could be refined by adding MCU part numbers to bootloaders in a new field for MCU for any and all boards, e.g. CMD21 for Circuit Playground Express, etc. Same is true for any other component not covered by features. So let me look at the live page also, so we have something to compare to. I think this is talking about this, yeah. Filter's not working. Search-based MCU family is working. Filter is not working. Suspect it's due to logic and should display download. Processor family list contains extraneous entries first and last. Problem with MCU family list generation. List layout has issues. Sort by is pushed to the bottom. Help. Dropping the filter changes from downloads HTML till it's debugged would allow the MCU family improvements to go live anytime. Okay. So it looks like it changed. Looks like they added searching. And that part is working. And then they tried to add filtering. And that part is not working yet. If I'm understanding all of that correctly. Okay. I've never really looked at much of the code of CircuitPython.org. I've made a few PRs in this, but it was only like let's go back to downloads. The only thing I've ever really done is modify some links down here. Like I put in a couple links to learn guides on a couple boards. But I've never really messed with any of the functionality of it, so a lot of this stuff is not anything I've seen before. There's some more engine templates though. Okay, so let's go back to the local copy downloads, and so filters. So I see, okay, so there is a processor family now, which is not there on the live one. And I guess what they're talking about, one of the things they're talking about is the way sort by is now way down there. Yeah. So I almost think, in terms of sort by, I think it would make sense for processor family and features to be in the same column. And that would be in the middle column. And then sort by could stay on the right. Because we have plenty of room below processor family, since this first list, manufacturers, is so long. There's plenty of room there that we could have these two kind of like one on top of the other, and then sort by could stay over there. So maybe we'll look at the HTML and see if we can do that. But let's check out the searches. So @mel samd, let's turn this off. @mel samd. I wonder if this should be, well, they said it's keying off of data that's already there. Where's that bootloaders.json? Actually, no. There it is. Good guess. Family, I guess. Okay, so family is not a specific chip. Be nice if this could distinct between SAMD21s and SAMD51s. But that would require more data inside of here. I have no idea where this file comes from either. I assume it's generated, but is it? Maybe it's not. Maybe this is the thing you change for the PR. Duplicate template MD to board MD. Provide 3 images. No, yeah, it doesn't talk about changing bootloaders, so that must be generated automatically. Let me, yeah, okay. So the search does work, then this is pretty cool. You can search by SAMD, so let's try another one, ESP32S2. ESP32. Wonder what are the two differences. This goes to 23. Go to new window. New tab, I guess it is, not new window. 2. Ooh, I haven't seen this unexpected maker. Is that those are LEDs, right? Yeah. Oh, looks pretty cool. What are the differences though? There's one. Pixel wing. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find the other one easily. Actually, it's dev kit. Yeah. And that is ESP32S2, so I wonder why that doesn't come up. Let's go look in bootloaders at these two devices. So, Pixel Wing. Pixel, not show up at all. Wing? Halloween. 4 of those are from Halloween. And Monster Mask. Huh. That's not listed in here at all. Go back to the live page. So would this, if it had a bootloader, would it say? That's not what this looks like. Must be an early prototype, right? Because this thing is not on there. Does it say anything about the bootloader? It does. Okay, so if it's not listed in there, it looks like it just skips this whole section. This has it. But this one doesn't have it. Okay. I mean, that's not really a problem with this PR specifically, but as a separate issue, this Kaluga dev kit and this Pixel Wing by Skur should both be added to bootloaders.json, but I don't know. Again, I don't know how this gets, because it doesn't tell you to add it in the README. So I guess it must be generated, right? Get grep bootloaders.json downloads. Downloads. So is this is new though, right? This was not there before. Yeah. This doesn't even have. But if this doesn't have anything about bootloaders, how? I mean, this has the word bootloader in it. How does this not have bootloader at all? That's weird. Well, okay, maybe this is the downloads page. Maybe there's a separate page. This one doesn't have a template. So this is the left side. This is all the stuff that gets rendered under here. Looks like. But what generates the right side of that page? I don't know. Download? This looks like it. Yeah. Only output bootloader if we have complete info about the board. We know the latest version of the bootloader. By the way, Boolean operation precedence is right to left. So yeah, if bootloader version and bootloader ID and bootloader board, then render this section, which is this section right here. So it does say if we have information. Maybe we just don't have. I mean, I'm sure Scur has the information about the bootloader for their pixeling device, right? But and I would have assumed we would have the information for the Kaluga dev kit, but maybe not. Oh, there's actually two dev kits. Version 1.3 and version 1.2. And one of them is in this file. We only had two differences. Kaluga. Is there a thing that's not the dev kit? Kaluga? No. Okay. That's interesting. This is v1.2, v1.3, but this one just says Kaluga 1. Must be 1.2 though, because this is the one that has the bootloader. Oh yeah, look at the URLs down at the bottom. Or maybe it'll show up here too. This one says 1.3. And this one just says 1. Even though it's actually 1.2. Okay, that makes sense. I wonder what's the difference. Pinouts are different. Hmm. I wonder, this might actually be the 1.2, honestly. I don't know. Hmm. I wonder why we have undefined there. I wonder if we really want that. I guess that would show you all the boards where we don't know the processor family, since it's not in the bootloaders file. Does it work like this? No. Well, maybe, but it's not showing all of them, certainly. Huh. I never saw this inside of a, inside the case. Huh. Five. Whoa. Interesting. I never seen this either. Like a clue that's got some LEDs along the top. Hmm. What is CXD56? Fluorescence. Huh. Never heard of that before. I am. Seven. Cool. Okay, so the search is working, like they said. And then I guess the filter does not, is that? LCMD D3. I think it's working. What did they say? Oh, they are talking about, yeah, if it used 21 versus 51, yeah, that would be nice. Filter is not working. Seems like filter is working though. Go back to downloads, filter, Atmo, close. Huh. I guess the other thing, these should be, oh, I see. Okay, it's like additive, right? It's gonna be both of those, not, it's not and, but it's or. That does make sense, I guess. I don't know, it seems like it's working though. It's looking like all the same results from when I typed them in. Are they talking about a different kind of filter? Still work? Yeah. Expected maker? Yeah, it still works. Features? Truth? That's pretty neat. Wonder if that's the keyboard Jeff uses. Jeff mentioned he has a keyboard with CircuitPython. I don't know. It seems undefined. Oh yeah, this is the same result from when I searched undefined. Filter is not working, no boards displayed. Hmm. I wonder if this means they did drop the changes already, but it's... But if they took out the changes, then we wouldn't have these listed here, right? Okay, so they changed downloads.js. Handle page load, init filter, setup manufacturers, setup MCU families. Create an extra list, display MCU families. This is in filter results. Selected MCU families for each array prototype push. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Seems, I don't know, maybe it wasn't working for them for some reason, but could filter MCU families. Display true. Still in JS. It's our family. So this is, yeah, this is this. Whoops. Then downloads HTML. This is that comment that we ran across. MCU family. What is this part? It's around line 116. Download. Just has a bunch of data on it. So that must be top level div on this page. Class download. Doesn't show any of those data attributes though. Wonder if that's just the inspector. No. Like there's a invalid closing. Last download. I guess there's another div here. Well, okay, this is downloads though, right? Downloads. Details. There it is. Okay, yeah, class download, and it does have a bunch of stuff on it. Okay. MCU family is blank on the Pico. But it's at MLSAMD on the Express. Okay. So actually, this whole list just doesn't have Pico in it yet. Not Pico, but you know, RP2040. So I guess none of those are in here yet. Yeah. Okay. So that does kind of make sense. Let's see if we can't help them with that filter page. The actual functionality seems to be working, but let's see if we can't figure out a way in the HTML. Whoops. So how does this use style? Does it have any style? Awesome. Asset CSS main. Assets CSS main. This is a SAS file. Okay, right. So, and this is just including all these other things, though. So pages. Downloads. Okay. So this would be where we change the CSS. So what does the structure look like? Break this out. Grid column. Filter buttons. This is the X button. Manufacturers. This is the entire grid. Grid template columns. Cheers. The other thing is, maybe we could use 4 columns. We have a bunch of white space horizontally, at least at this size. And it already does scrunch if it gets narrow enough. So maybe it wouldn't look great at like right in here if we had 4 columns. Pretty much the rest of it would be fine though. I don't know, I think it would still be probably best if we could get it down here. Not sure how to do that though. This thing goes all the way down. If the height was smaller, would it just wrap already? No, it doesn't look like it. Span 3. Start min-max 1 EM, 1 FR. Main start. Min-max 0, 8 EMs. Main end. EMFR. Full end. Column gap. Grid column. So nothing really declares rows. CSS 2. So this. Well, it's not at the same line though. span 3. Third column span 3. Those spans to the edge. Need to know how to draw a new grid to match the outer grid for the content in this container. So, I mean, one low-hanging fruit way to fix it is if this was 4. I don't know, do I need to rerun it or something? Huh. Actually, I noticed that it changed. Okay, now it's done. It wasn't done yet. Oh, we still got B. Oh, it says span 4. So I guess that's not all that it would need to be done. Would need something else too. I think this part would need to be changed also. But I'm not sure. I haven't used grid display very much, truthfully. Not sure what would actually need to change in here. I assume we would want another one in the middle, but problem is these are named already. I don't know that. Does not like that though. I think these are like names. You can give a name to the borders between the things in the grid. If I recall properly. I think though this is not the right approach. I don't think we really want to make this 4, honestly. Curious if it works, but well, no, but we did get much shorter. Seems much closer to working, but definitely still not. Let's put all this stuff back. The other thing to do though would be to try to tell it to use this second row, basically. And I don't know exactly how to do that either. Where is this stuff? Filters. Well, there's features, okay. Downloads filter content. Okay, this is this div. So filter buttons ignores the grid. Buttons is absolute, so it ignores the grid. Manufacturers, MCU families, and features. Grid column main, display grid. What is ampersand? What does this do? Is that applying to the divs that are inside of the parent? This div? No. Filter content. Download filter content. This one is everything in there, and it's display grid. But then we also have a div wrapping just the columns. So I don't know, I guess if we would want to do it, but I guess we could just change the order of these things, right? Instead of messing with the CSS, we could go features first, then manufacturers, then sort by, then MCU families. And that would cause... It moves where manufacturers is at. Manufacturers would now be in the middle, but that should stack processor family and features automatically and put sort by on the right. No. Yes, but not really. So yes, but the problem is it keeps the height of the largest column. That doesn't fix it either. Still all the way down there. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I'll have to look into display grid some more. Yeah. I would have to play with this quite a bit more to understand how it's working. Doesn't look like that's really a viable solution though, just swapping the orders, unless we can also somehow force this to be shorter. Oh, it's my inspector, okay. Let me put that back. And let me leave some feedback that I tested the searching. And then I think I'll call it a day for now. Let's leave feedback on this one too. Okay. Boards displayed. This is weird that they say no boards displayed. Maybe I'll leave a screenshot. Just do a little bit of the ones below so that you can see there's more, but it has the count here as well, so. Stack features and MCU family on top of the other, and then have sort by stay in the right column. Column third time's the charm. Okay, I think that is about going to do it for the day. Okay. So let me also say, oops, person's name, Duprenza, Durapenza. Okay. Let's comment. And I think that's going to do it for today. So thank you, everyone who hung out in the chat and watched along on the stream. I will be back at the normal time next week, 10 a.m. on Saturday, 10 a.m. Central Time on Saturday. Yeah, occasionally I pop up during the week or during other times. Like I worked on the Etch-A-Sketch a couple times this past week, but I don't know for sure. It just kind of depends what's going on. But definitely 10 a.m. Saturday, I'll be back. So yep, take it easy, everybody, and I will see you next week.